Hello fellow armchair generals, this is Gamer 1745 here. Sorry about yesterday's episode not having any commentary. Not sure exactly why my microphone wasn't working, but that was the problem. I know I had to not quite reinstall everything, but go through and recheck boxes to make sure it's getting the right inputs or something before things worked out right. So unfortunately, about 4 other episodes I'm going to have to replay. Now, fortunately, I love playing the game, so replaying it isn't upsetting me too much. The wasted effort is upsetting me some. But what's even more is I thought I had some creative and interesting things to say when I was making some of the previous episodes, and I don't know if I'm going to be as interesting the second time around or not. And no, I don't remember what I said in each episode or whatever. I'm sure some things will prompt me with what happens, but I don't know. It's going to be as good. Maybe it'll be better because I'll be a little more polished the second time through with each of this episodes here. So, sorry about that. Now I'm going to keep... It takes a while to upload because not living in Panzeroo's Australia, where they're using pure copper wire and everything goes super slow, and if you've been following his travails of getting internet connection back after a lightning strike or not. But in California we have some great, I don't know if it's the world's best internet connection, but we have some great internet connections, including in the city in which I live in. I understand Verizon's Vios is very good, but they don't have it in my part of the city, so I'm stuck with some less than great options for my connectivity. So it takes a while to upload things. So I'm going to keep this episode fairly short to get it up for tonight's. Okay, we're looking at submarine training here. Submarine crew trainings for tonight's viewing, instead of the things that I uploaded earlier without any commentary track on them. I'm going to look at average. Seeing a lot of people at least starting the episode. It takes a couple days for YouTube to give me back how many viewing minutes. The other one is CAG Fighters. Sorry, I'm still a little... set over all this. So... okay. And as you know, if you're following me, I'm a bit dynamic on my build procedures. And I sort of, subconsciously know what I had already built. So that's already been taken care of in my mind. But I have to go back, and yeah, I could watch the other episodes, but I'm not going to play it just the same as it was. Trying to think here what we might need. We're going to build a couple of more heavy transports. Not that many. There we go. So I'm going to use Britain as my rebuilding My reorganization, maybe I should say. Okay, well. Okay, bomber focus. Yeah, we'll end that. Let's see, let's send these guys up Glasgow. We'll get a mountain naval striking out there. Okay, we've got Iceland now. No, strategic redeploy will be quicker. So we're building some defenses. The Croatians already moved in there, forced to help defend the island. Okay, we want that. Force. And the mountain troops. Oh, we're gonna stop here on the way because we want to pick up some more mountain troops. You don't need to stay up there. Let's get you back into here. Okay, this force is going to move. No. One more here. Okay. These guys are gonna go down to here to give us some garrison and policing forces in our new colonies. We're gonna send these guys up to collect the rest of the Africa Corps. Get it unified. Damn them. We have some more Africa Corps up here? Oh, up here. Yeah, get all the Africa Corps. We're going to leave some garrison forces there just in case the Americans or the Canadians or somebody decides to try to base. Okay, medium fuel tank. Okay. Flying boat. What else might we need? gonna build, yeah, 4 of those, and with 8 of these, now 10. Yes, you may have all the energy you like. Let's see here. No, holding the wrong button down. Did I rebase instead of transport? This will be quicker. Yeah, basically everybody who isn't already on board, get on board. We're going here. Rebase. Now that leaves us with a need for a garrison. Yeah, transport that garrison up there. Major defeat. Oh, damn. Forgot about all this stuff up here. They're being counterattacked. Okay, well. And I sort of kind of forgot about that as well. Go over there and occupying and then come back. Which is the bigger port? 3, 1, okay, you occupy the port here. I will say I'm heartened by the very nice comments I get from people from different parts of the world that find that I have interesting things to say that make sense about their part of the world or the history of their parts of the world. That's, you know, obviously I've studied history, but it's, shall we say, through an Anglo-American lens. And I say that as much because I do consume English history, in the sense that stuff written in England. That's too much, okay. Because I speak English, as well as stuff written in the United States. So now I also try to read, like I've read a lot of books by German generals post-World War II, or autobiography type stuff, diaries, things like that, that have been translated into English. So I do try to get other countries' perspectives. Machine gun focus, I believe that's this one here. Well, we're going to let that one go. Oh, there's also... well, what is... oh, machine gun focus battalions. Ah, okay. Now I know what we're... it's over here. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that we need to stop. So I do try to get other perspectives from other parts of the world, as well as what is written by Americans or the English or Australians or who, native English speakers. But it does, of course, color my viewpoints. But I really have tried to make an effort to understand, shall we say, the tapestry of history, and that's sort of how I see it, because World War II isn't just Hitler and the Nazis decide to go berserk and conquer the world, or even Hitler and Nazis, our reaction to the Treaty of Versailles, so it explodes, and I do really do feel World War II is just fighting over the results of World War I, if you will. It's not World War I Part 2, but it's fighting over the Treaty of Versailles, if you will. You didn't have to end it the way it was ended. I do see that as a core, but you have to see it within the tapestry of not just that Treaty of Versailles, but the whole World War I, what it led up to, the histories in the past for the country. Because had you had a strong, resolute France, Britain, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Belgium, and a few other countries, Hitler and the Nazis could have done whatever they wanted to, but they just would have been shut down immediately once they started getting belligerent if those countries were well-armed, well-prepared. Czechoslovakia, I would say, was well-armed, well-prepared. And they were, in my opinion, the only ones. Now, I really don't know the morale of the Czechs, the populace, to fight. And obviously the Slovaks may have not been terribly thrilled to fight for Czechoslovakia. And obviously the Sudeten Germans weren't going to be lining up to create German-speaking battalions fighting for the defense of Czechoslovakia. Those are two very, well-documented things. Now, of course, things could have gone differently had the reaction been not Nazi Germany, but had it been, and this is why it's more than just a few things, had it been Communist Germany, maybe the Sudeten Germans would have gone, oh, those guys across the border are crazy and they're going communist. We're going to stick with the Czechs and, go that way. They might have made that sort of decision. But had all those countries been resolute in its standing up to the Nazis. I think that would have shut down Hitler, because I think the army would have revolted very early on, you know, with all those countries really arming up and preparing for the war. Before the Sudeten crisis happened, had they really been arming up and preparing for the war and, you know, developing forward-looking army, I think the army would have revolted, especially once Hitler pushed it to an actual war. But even beyond that, I don't know if you could have really had World War II if... Yeah, you could have, but not as quite as quickly and as well for the Germans. If Germany didn't able to have a pseudo-alliance with the Soviet Union, because the Soviet Union was communist, obviously, and it was an outcast among nations, and one of the only nations that would deal with it, even back in the Reich days, before Hitler was in power, they were doing secret testing in the Soviet Union for early tank models and aircraft types. They were doing the testing there that continued under Hitler and the Wehrmacht. While Hitler's running around doing the anti-Comintern Pact, they were doing secret testing in the Soviet Union. That détente, if you will, was going on. That allowed them to do the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, which technically ended, and that's why they re-signed later a new anti-Comintern Pact once Germany went to war with the Soviet Union. But while they were organizing up the anti-Comintern Pact, they then eventually came to the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, and the lead up to that, not just that, but the lead up to that, allowed Germany to feel comfortable enough to start the war in Poland. But also, what that did was, since the Soviet Union was isolated, it did not have the technical ability, and this is my I can be wrong, but this is my understanding of it, the Soviet Union did not have the technical ability to build large steel rolling machinery for forged steel to roll it out for armor. Did not have the ability to make it, and no one would sell them the large production. Now, the main, I think, use most nations thought, and I think I talked about this earlier in the series quite some time ago, the main thought that I think most people thought it would be used for is to building warships. A lot of the early or pre-World War I Russian, the Kaisers or Tsars ships, a lot of them were built in Germany. So, you know, I don't know quite the Russian ability to build the stuff. So Germany sells this large steel rolling equipment, one or more sets of it, to the Soviet Union. That without those equipment, the Soviets could not build the T-34 series and the KV series tanks, because you needed to be able to make some of that armor. Some of the turrets were cast, but a lot of that armor, the way it was done with rolled steel armor plate, and you even roll in. Part of what they're doing is the curve at the front of the tank, and elements like that the Soviet Union, with the thickness and the size that needed, did not have the technical ability to build those things. They'd have to be stuck with the BT series and other early types of tanks that they could build. So without helping Germany build up its armed forces and getting the improved steel making things, they would not have been able to, in my opinion, successfully have defended themselves against their coming enemy, Germany, because they could not have built enough tanks that were effective enough to stop Germany. So you have to look at this, and this is how I do it, as the tapestry of history. It's not just the aspect of a few things that you see simply in a few documentaries or in a short history book. It's all of this that balances together, that weaves around, that pushes various forces that allow things to happen, that keep other things from happening. And so you get these interesting turns, and this is how I sort of look at history and try to understand it. That is what I'm looking at when I'm trying to see history here. No leader here, but nobody's assigned to him. Okay, well, like I said, I'm going to keep this episode short so we can get it up there. I'll be making more and putting them up. Thanks a lot for watching. Do appreciate it. Loved hearing from you. See you next time.